I'm gonna get the most out of this overpriced ass Halloween costume, okay? I'm wearing it for this review, except for this fucking wig. Holy shit, it's uncomfortable. Hi everyone, this is Josh, and today we're going to talk about the insanely popular Netflix show that you've probably heard of unless you've lived under a rock this whole time, Squid Game. As a quick warning, this will be a spoiler review, so if you don't want to hear any, then go to this point in the video so you can see my score. There's your warning. 3, 2, 1. Squid Game is a South Korean television show created by Hwang Dong-hyuk. It follows Ji-hoon and hundreds of other financially compromised contestants who compete in children's games for a huge cash prize. If they lose in any of these games, they die. Pretty brutally. So while I do have a few problems with this show, which I'll get into in a little bit, I think Squid Game is pretty good overall. It's a well thought out, albeit simple allegory about the brutality of capitalism. It's not very deep, but it doesn't need to be in order to be entertaining and stressful as hell. Where the show really shines is its set design. There's a lot of big, elaborate set pieces with sometimes hundreds of extras participating for all of the different games. They're very big, vibrant, and colorful. I like the idea of these characters playing different children's games to survive. It creates this interesting visual irony of playing what's normally a harmless game of red light, green light, and then getting killed. It's a really interesting mix of fuzzy, fun games and brutality. A lot of the games are exciting to watch. I think they're really well paced and consistently build tension, especially when the characters are seeing other people die who are failing the challenge, which really builds pressure. The only game that I thought was a little underwhelming was the cookie cutout game where they can't break the shape at the center of the cookie. I understand its cultural relevance to the story. I just didn't think it was as good compared to the rest. I liked the more team-oriented and obstacle course-oriented games. The show is very sound technically. I thought the cinematography was pretty good. There are times where it does feel a little standard and conservative with the approach, but you don't really need to do anything crazy when you're working with these amazing sets. The score complements everything nicely. The theme is very ominous and memorable. It's going to be in millions of TikToks and memes for years to come. Another thing that I liked about the show, which I guess has less to do with the quality and the content of the show, is that it's warming American audiences up to foreign media. There's a lot of great foreign cinema out there, including South Korean cinema that I wish had more mainstream appeal in the States. I think part of the reason why it doesn't is because people don't like to read subtitles. Guys, if you're watching the dubbed version of the show, please stop, for the love of God. The English dub is always so terrible. There's some solid performances from a few actors that is best experienced by hearing them speak their native language. That is, of course, except for the English actors. They're fucking terrible. You should honestly just mute them whenever they're on screen unless you want to hear what sounds like Google Translate speaking in horribly written exposition and creepy sexual remarks. You all have fun. I'm going off for a different kind of fun.
Oh, real 69.
Jesus Christ. I'm not going to count that against the show too much though. The VIPs only show up for a pretty short period of time, and a lot of different countries have issues with directing actors who speak a different language. Most of the issues I have with Squid Game has to do with its story. There are certain parts where I feel like you have to suspend disbelief, like with the whole security system, which seems really flimsy to me. We find out that the Squid Games are run by a closed group of billionaires who have obviously pumped a lot of money into making sure it's an airtight operation. But it was pretty easy for Jun-ho to infiltrate the facility and wander around for days. He makes a ton of mistakes along the way with his different assignments, looking suspiciously inexperienced, like he has no idea what he's doing, and yet no one ever thinks to sit him down and grill him over his strange behavior. Really, the extent of what people do to him is just tell him, "You're not doing this job right, stop doing that." I could also bring up the whole scene where security lets Se-byeok and Han Min-yo take a long-ass bathroom break, which they use to allow Se-byeok to sneak through the vents, or how Han Min-yo uses a lighter to help break her cookie during the second game, and then gives her lighter to Jung-jae so he can do the same thing. I guess none of the cameras or guards watching saw them do this. I would have been more okay with these lapses in security if this was like the first, second, or maybe even third Squid Game, but you later find out that they've been going on for 30 years, so there's been plenty of time to improve and fine-tune security measures. So much so that Jun-ho can't just pick another dead guard's higher-ranked mask up off the ground and use it. Also, how in the world has the Squid Games remained a secret for this long? Given everything we know about how getting recruited to compete in the game works and how you can leave the game and report it to the police, like Jin-hoon does with the business card they give you, I just don't see how law enforcement doesn't sniff it out. I had enough fun watching the show that I was able to look past a lot of these issues, although the ending of this season is pretty terrible. Everything that happens after Ji-hoon finds his dead mom is just stupid and pointless. Right after this scene, one whole year has passed and we find out that Ji-hoon hasn't spent any of the money he's gotten from the games and has been presumably homeless this entire time. Before Ji-hoon even finished the Squid Games, Se-byuk asked him to take care of her orphan brother, and Sang-woo also asked him to take care of his mom. I understand that Ji-hoon probably felt a lot of grief after the death of his mother, which can be debilitating, but he really couldn't help out Se-byuk's brother and Sang-woo's mom for a whole year? Ji-hoon's biggest reason for participating in the Squid Games in the first place was to save his mother, who desperately needed life-saving surgery to treat an infection that could kill her. Like his reason for joining, Ji-hoon's actions in the game are mostly noble, as he often puts the well-being of others before his own desire to win, like when he refuses to kill Sang-woo in the final game. This all led me to believe that maybe if he gets out alive and gets back into the real world, he'll stop gambling, stop being a deadbeat dad, stop being a terrible son, and learn from this experience. You know, kind of do a character arc. He does eventually get around to helping Se-byuk's brother and Sang-woo's mom after getting a terrible haircut. Luckily, nothing bad happened to either of them in the year that he didn't do anything. But he never makes things right with his daughter. He decides at the last minute before getting on a plane to see her that he's going to hold off on that and take down the Squid Games first. Bro, it's been a year and you haven't done anything. You might as well see your daughter first, mend that relationship, complete your character arc, and then take down the Squid Games. It just seems like he's lost the plot and sort of flounders around not knowing what the hell he's doing for the final 30 minutes of this show. I also did not care for the whole twist where Ji-hoon finds the old man on his deathbed and it's revealed that the old man created the Squid Games. It wasn't exciting enough for the old man or Il-nam to just watch the Squid Games from a distance, so he decided to participate in them to have more fun. This kind of goes against the whole spiel that Dr. Doom or the frontman gives about how every player in the game needs to be equal and not have an advantage over the other. Like, yeah, the old man isn't athletic like everyone else, but he probably has a vague idea of what the games are going to be like in advance. Earlier in the show, we saw the frontman kill the doctor contestant who helped some rogue guards extract and sell organs of dead players in exchange for knowledge about the games in advance. Also, Il-nam definitely loses during the marbles game and isn't killed, which is how the game is supposed to operate. So I guess players aren't treated fairly, as it turns out, or at least that same principle doesn't apply to the old man. Anyway, we don't learn anything from this scene with Ji-hoon and Il-nam. It just feels like an attempt to force a twist into the story. It was so unnecessary and honestly really boring. Guys, I did like Squid Game overall. I think it's super entertaining and effective. I just wish parts of the story had been thought through a little bit more. I plan on watching the second season when it comes out. I'm willing to bet the writers will maybe reveal some new information in that season that will provide some clarity on parts of the story in season 1 that I didn't understand. I still do wish the ending wasn't so confusing and terrible, but if I'm looking at the show as a whole, I think it's effective and an entertaining survival show. I'm going to give Squid Game a 3.5 out of 5. Thanks for watching this review, guys. I really appreciate it. Be sure to leave your thoughts on Squid Game in the comment section below. Feel free to leave a recommendation on a film, TV show, or subject that I should discuss next while you're down there. And of course, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the bell for notifications and like this video if you want to help me and the algorithm. Thanks again, everyone. I will see you in the next video. Until then, take care of yourself. Take it easy. I love you, but not really. I definitely will not have this hideous mustache the next time, but yeah, hopefully you don't miss it. Until then, take it easy. Bye.